Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy Sean, the American in Krakow, back on the gaming channel to talk to you about another mechanical keyboard. This time, I just picked up the On Pro 2. So, why did I get another keyboard? If you've seen some of my other videos, I've been using the Razer Huntsman Mini linear optical keyboard. So the more recent of the two, the one with the linear optical switches. And for about a day, I loved that keyboard. And unfortunately, it had a little bit of a firmware update that's made it incompatible with my system, unfortunately. And I'm not going to go into details on that. There are other videos I have on my channel talking about it and my experience so far. But I needed to replace it with something. And a couple of my friends and family members who are kind of definitely more into the mechanical keyboards than I am recommended that I check out the On Pro 2. Performance and price, it was kind of hard to beat. So I'm personally a fan of linear switches. You know, I've tried clickies like the blues. I've tried brown tactiles and red linears. I even had the speed silvers on a previous keyboard of mine. But that was a full size, but they were so loud to me. They were just so loud that I couldn't deal with that. So the speed silvers, or I'm sorry, the reds seem to be the kind of good meeting point for me. Now on this keyboard in particular, I went with the Kailh Box Red switches. And I'll go ahead and get you some typing samples, sounds, things like that on this in a little bit. Even compare it back to my Razer Huntsman, which I still have. I would like them to fix it for me because I do really like that keyboard. But there are some features on this keyboard that may prevent me from actually switching back to it. So the reason I went to this was because I am a longtime console gamer. So I'm very used to having my hands close together when I game, and having a full-size keyboard and a mouse and room for the mouse. I felt so awkward having my hands so far apart. So this 60% really, really put me in a good balance while learning how to use keyboard and mouse to game. So, you know, what is it about this keyboard though, besides the fact that it works, that may make me consider it to be the permanent replacement over the Razer? And for me, this keyboard has a lot of features. Bluetooth being one, so this can actually operate as a wired or wireless keyboard. And I have not even touched the wireless function. I don't know if I'll ever need the wireless capability. It's just nice to know that it's there if I do want to use it on my MacBook or pair it to my phone if I'm traveling, because they're so small, they're pretty easy to pack. But I don't know. I don't necessarily see a need for it now. But for me, personally, I am a huge arrow key user. Like when I'm typing or web surfing or doing stuff, I use a lot of the arrow keys to complete, like autocomplete, or, you know, just move around within a document if I want to go up and down a line. Like I tend to do that if I'm already on a keyboard, then get off the keyboard and go to my mouse. And the makers of the On Pro 2 have found a solution to this that is, for me, amazing. There's obviously the function key, and there's some dedicated keys on here for up, down, left, right. So in this case, they're using WSAD. So just like you use for gaming, except you hold function, and now WSAD becomes up, down, left, right. And that works. But they came up with something that works even a little bit better for me personally. You know, again, out of my typing habits, I'm used to using my right hand and kind of just reaching over for the arrows. So what they've done is they've taken the right side, shift, function, control, and I don't even know what that other key is called. It's it's not a Windows key, it's the list key. I don't even know what that key is called. And those keys are all designed to technically be used as a press and hold. You press and hold shift and you do something. You press and hold control, you press and hold function, or you press and hold that Windows list key or whatever it's called. In this case, though, if you tap it, if you just press it and release very quickly, it will act as an arrow key. So if I just need to arrow right to auto-complete a sentence or a web address, I just hit the control key real quick, tap, perfect. And it's the last key on the keyboard. Up, down, same, the shift key, the list key, or the function key. It has really changed the game for me when it comes to just using a 60% keyboard. It's hands down my favorite function. I also like the fact that I didn't have to go in and map a specific key to be an alternative function key, as I did on the Razer. So on the Razer, I kind of borrowed the function that's default in like Duckies, right? Duckies have those dip switches, and you can set a dip switch combination or program it that the caps lock key can also act as a function key. On Pro, they call it, I think, magic function, magic key, I believe is the function, is what it's called. You just enable it in the software. And the caps lock will also act as a function key. So if I need to do something left-handed, like there's when I'm gaming on Siege or Smite, sometimes I have to accept a game invite and it's like function F2. And instead of having to use two hands to do that, I can just, or I should say, it's like shift F2 or something like that. I can just, with one hand, hit shift, function, and the F2 key or the 2 key and get that. So it actually, having that additional function key is a big plus for me. And it's just a function, it's just a feature. You just enable it in the software on the On Pro 2. I kind of have to think about it. I'm like, oh, do I need it? Is it something there? And then just do an individual key map on the Huntsman software, which isn't difficult. It's just, I had to think about it. Just having it there, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, just giving me the option made it easier for me, newer to going to a 60% keyboard, that, hey, that's an option or that's a thing that I can do. So I really appreciated that from them. But overall, I mean, feel, quality, weight, it feels good. Oh, the other amazing thing on this keyboard, before I get to it, there is some negatives I have. The space bar, the big keys, shift, enter, even the control keys, the alt, but that space bar, it is so quiet. It is, compared to my Huntsman, or compared to, I had a HyperX, my Alloy FPS, which was the full size. Oh my lord, it's so quiet. Those big keys, like the Huntsman rattles to death. And it's because of the stabilizers that the way Razer has decided to do stabilizers on that keyboard, it just makes it so rattly. The way they've implemented it on the On Pro, which is a little bit more standard with other keyboards as well, it is just quiet. And here, I'll give you a little example of that right now, both on the Razer and on the On Pro 2. So here we go. That's the On Pro 2, and now we're going to the Razer. Right? And that's massive. That's just a massive difference, right? It's incredible. Now, the negative on this side, though, and this is more probably me making an assumption, as I didn't necessarily do an audio, like I didn't go and borrow my buddy's test keyboard. He's got a little test thing, and he's got a bunch of different switches that I could have played around with. But the linear reds that I got, the Kailh Box Reds, the regular keys, the way they're set up on the On Pro 2, they're too loud for me. I don't like it. Like, I get that pinging or that clack on the bottom out, and then on the up again. So you're going to hear that, right? It's just loud. Now here's the same thing on the Razer, and it's by about 50%. To my ear, it's about half the volume. It's muted on the way down, and then on the way back up, it's just muted. It's just, the keys still feel nice. They actuate well. I like the feel of them, but just that noise difference is just huge for me. Whereas on any of my other videos or something like that, the Razer, I actually didn't have to do anything to kind of get the key clicks out of my videos. with the On Pro, I actually have to set a expander to limit the decibel, like to kind of ramp down as volume decibels get lower, and then eventually clip out or cut out below a certain decibel, just to avoid getting too many keystrokes in any of the videos. So I don't know. I I really like the On Pro 2. I love the arrow key function that they put on there. Like that thing is massive for me. It's a huge difference for me. But I do miss that sound on the keys for the Razer. But that space bar and the big keys are so loud. Like I'm stuck in the middle. Like I don't know. If I could take the letters and number keys from the Razer and implement it on the On Pro 2, that would be great. Except they're optical switches, so obviously not compatible on the PCB. Not even the physical switches are the same. So there's enough there that I probably won't mess around with doing anything. The other alternative, but this is a soldered keyboard, right? The switches are soldered down to the board. I may take the time and desolder it and make this hot swappable. If they ever fix the Razer, I will 100% do that. I will take the time to desolder this and put in the little pad holders or the little tubes in all the pad points on the PCB and make this a hot swappable keyboard, because I think that would be cool. And then I might try the Red Silence. That I think was the way I needed to go. Unfortunately, when I ordered this keyboard, I ordered it off of Banggood, got a great price for it. There's no argument with me, with them. It was shipped immediately. Everything was easy with them. But the reason I went with the Kailh Reds, the Box Reds, I should say, were they had them in inventory in Europe. So they had them, I think, either in Spain or in the Czech Republic. I don't remember which storage location they had it in. So it was a very quick, like, I think I had it in like 4 days or 3 days maybe. And that was awesome. If it actually needed to come in from China, they were saying, hey, it could be up to 15 to 20 days. And my Razer had already got the firmware update, and it was causing me a lot of issues. So I definitely wasn't going in with the Razer for that long. So I kind of took the lesser of two evils and said, hey, I can get this in a few days. They're linears, they're reds. I should like them. And I do like the feel of them. I know I can go in and do a spray lube job on this without having to desolder everything, but I don't think that's going to help, because for me, it's just too noisy on the way down and on the release. The release part, I think, is what annoys me the most, but that's just me. I can definitely, if you like linear switches and if you think that's a reasonable sound for you, I can highly recommend it. The other thing I really like about this keyboard, which I forgot to mention, was the way they implemented their RGB. I like black keyboards. I know if I really wanted bright RGB, I should have gone with white keyboards. Not my thing. The Razer is also black, as you saw, but the Razer is kind of more of an open frame keyboard. So let me grab that for a second. So here's the Razer again. And as you can see, there's that gap between the keycap and the base, right? In the frame of the keyboard. So with that, they had to make everything match. So the whole keyboard, the base plate, everything is black. So when it comes to the RGB on the Razer, they're bright LEDs on here. But because the keycaps are black, the base is black, the light really only comes through where they use the translucent for the letter, for the actual character on the key, and a little bit of a glow from underneath because it's black. With the On Pro, their case is different. They actually come up and cover the keycap, the bottom of the keycap a little bit. So overall, the keyboard looks black. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick this up on the video. You might just, yep, you can see it there. But that base plate inside there is white. So the actual RGB, when it shoots up into the keycap and bounces back down, it reflects off of that white surface and it really lights up. Like I am 100% confident that the LEDs on the Razer are technically brighter LEDs, but because this has that white base plate, the reflection that I get in the view of RGB of light that I get from the keyboard, it's actually more effective on the On Pro. I notice it more. And that's only important if that's a thing for you. I kind of like it. It's not unicorn puke bright like with the all white keyboards, which are cool. Don't get me wrong. Those things look really cool. Just maybe a bit much for me. I really like the way that this one lights up and the way, you know, that it's still a black keyboard. It's a little bit more subtle. And when it's, you know, even if I leave the RGB on, they're not overpowering that they're pulling my eye all the time. Like on my HyperX. Oh man, those HyperX, I think they had pudding keycaps on them too. So around the bottom half of the key was translucent. It was just light everywhere. They were so bright. I mean, it was cool. I would have kept it if I could comfortably use it, but they were super loud and I just couldn't be comfortable on it. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Let me know what you think about these two keyboards. I really think I am going to end up sticking with the On Pro 2. I don't know if I'm going to be going back to the Razer. I'd like to. I really would like to because I just like the way it feels. But that spacebar, that's just gonna, it kills me compared to, it's just so much more rattly. I don't know. And it feels, you could feel it under your fingers too. You could feel the shake. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Check out my other channels. I've got my motovlog channel. I got my reaction channel. Links will be in the description below. Also, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notify bell if you like content like this, or just even like some of the gaming stuff I put up. I stream Smite, I stream Rainbow Six Siege, Cyberpunk occasionally, you know, when the mood hits me to play and I'm not playing with my buddies. And also, check out my Instagram. It will be up here. Thanks, y'all. Peace.